Hi, I'm extremely happy to have Duke here to speak with us about the importance of no in a relationship.
Thank
And
you. I'm
we
so happy to be here.
same here, and I'm sure the audience would love to listen to your take on what is the importance of no in a relationship, and if you could give us ideas in the context of needs and feelings as defined by nonviolent communication.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, needs are kind of the basis of nonviolent communication, but we think of them in a little bit different ways. For example, in nonviolent communication, needs we think of them as the primary motivators of human behavior. They're the reason why we take actions or don't take actions because we're trying to meet our needs. And so, needs in nonviolent communication are things like love, companionship, connection, support, care, gentleness, also autonomy, freedom. But one of the things that are really important about needs that are really different in nonviolent communication is that they do not include specific people and specific actions. So, for example, especially in relationships, it's very easy to start thinking that, if you're my wife or my girlfriend or whatever, that I need you to do certain things. And in nonviolent communication, we just hold to the kind of the purity or the separateness of the need. I might need companionship, for example, and you are maybe my preferred strategy, my favorite way of getting my need met, but not the only way to get my need met. And that really enables some space then in the relationship.
So I'm hearing that it sounds like I am responsible for how I get my needs met.
Yes, and that's another, very subtle but um, pervasive kind of thinking in relationships in particular. Is that if you love me, then you'll know all of my needs and you'll take care of them without me asking you.
Yes, I would guess it and I would make it work somehow. And if I
Yes.
don't, then I'm doomed to feeling guilt.
Yes, yes, and anytime guilt starts getting in a relationship, then for me that's it's gonna kill the aliveness of the relationship. One of the things that brings so much joy in a relationship is the ability to contribute in such meaningful ways to the well-being of another human being. And when we start to think that you have to meet my needs, then it becomes a demand. And when there's demand on meeting someone else's needs, then all that joy gets drained out. And then after some time, it's easy to start kind of resenting the other person because there's no space for that joy. It's always like you have to do it.
Yes. And it feels very burdensome to imagine that kind of relationship where there is constant fear, guilt. If I say this, then how would this person respond? Can I say no? If I cannot or do not want to do it, would it be understood as lack of love?
Yeah, and I think that's a real challenge if, um, particularly if, which again is not uncommon. I've certainly done it myself, where my kind of worth and value is dependent on how you respond to my needs.
Oh, yes. So, do you want to speak about the importance of maintaining a healthy self-esteem in a relationship?
Yes, yeah, because again, any time that my worth and value is dependent on how you respond, then it's terrifying. Because if you do say no, then I interpret your no as I'm not worthy of love. And that's the most painful thing. So it's not, for me, it's not the no, it's that I'm interpreting it as I don't have any worth or value because you said no. Where in nonviolent communication, we can demonstrate our own worth and value by caring for our own needs.
How can we take care of our own needs?
Well, first to identify them. It's
First
really
to know
important.
our own needs.
Yes, yeah, that's the one of the real keys.
Yeah.
Because then we know how to care for ourselves.
Yes.
If I don't know what I'm needing, then how can I know how to care for myself. So that's the number one, and that's an ongoing practice, moment by moment. What am I needing now? Because it shifts, from moment to moment. But so the first thing is identifying those needs, getting clear what they are. And then the second thing is to kind of love ourselves enough to actually take actions to meet those needs.
Yes.
And sometimes that'll involve making requests of other people. Whatever. Would you come to a movie with me and it'll meet my need for companionship and and play and fun. But again, I don't want to make you responsible for my needs, because then I'm again at a loss if you say no.
So my happiness must not depend on the other person's yes or no. I would continue to find strategies to getting those needs fulfilled,
Yes.
because that would be honoring self-love.
Yes, and again, for me, connecting to those needs, and then it's taking action on behalf of those needs. So whether or not you say yes or no, how can I get my need for companionship met, or for care met, or whatever my need might be in this moment, and taking concrete actions myself. So there's many ways. For example, I can get my need met for companionship. Maybe it's if I have a pet at home, hanging out with that pet for a while. Maybe it's hugging a tree.
Yeah.
Whatever it might be. Sometimes for me, just walking in a forest can be really meet so many needs of mine.
Yes. And it surprises me that I think the dominant message we get from our culture is that once you are in a relationship, then that is how we get our needs met.
Yes.
And so a lot of times I've seen that once we are in a relationship, we forget to nurture our friendships around. And we almost monopolize all our energies in one space. And so if that person is not there, it leaves us in a very difficult situation. A situation of self-doubt, if this relationship is the one that I was looking for. And then there's another situation where I've seen that we know what we need, but we would not make a request that's clear. It would sound like a blame. It would start with, "You never do this for me."
Yes.
Rather than, "Would you be willing to do this for me?"
Yes, one of the beauties of human beings is that one of our most joyous needs is to contribute to the well-being of others. We get huge joy out of that. And so when we make requests of others in nonviolent communication, we want to share what needs of ours would be met by it, because then it becomes much more alive and kind of juicy. Wow, I can see actively, if I did this, this would really contribute to your well-being.
Yeah, I recall Marshall Rosenberg, the person who started nonviolent communication. He said that one of the questions to ask in a relationship is that how can I make this person's life wonderful?
Yes, yeah, and certainly by contributing to meeting their needs, that's the highest joy. Again, as long as it's not a demand.
Yeah.
And that's where the space for no comes in.
Yes.
Because if there is no space for no, then it's only a matter of time before I start hearing your needs as a demand, and that I'm becoming responsible for them.
So how do we receive a no? Specifically, if this is a need that was an important need and we just received a no from a loved one, how does one offer oneself the capacity to receive that no without giving difficult self-talk or difficult judgment about the other person?
Yeah, well, the difficult self-talk is one holding on to the beauty of our own needs. So that's a big challenge, is to see that our needs in this moment are equally important as the other person's needs. But how we can communicate that to the other person, if you've made a request of me, and how I can say that with care, but also care for my needs as well as yours, is, the first step is we try to connect to the needs that would be met, that the person is requesting. So again, if you were saying, do you want to go to a movie tonight, I might try to hear the needs behind that. Are your needs around, companionship and connection, maybe fun and play. So hearing those needs, because that really helps the person to get a sense that I'm understanding, in a deep way, what's important to you about going to a movie.
And the connection is alive.
Yes, yeah. It really gives that other person the sense of, wow, I care about, I understand what's important to you. And then once I've heard that, then the next step would be to share the needs of mine that might not be met by agreeing to your request. In this case, to go to a movie. And certainly, if I'm younger or whatever, if I'm a student or something, maybe it's something around I have a big test tomorrow, and so my needs might be for learning and for sort of care and protecting my future, because that's I do well in my exams and I'll have a good future, hopefully. And so that I want to express those needs, because in nonviolent communication, needs are universal to humankind. So when you hear my needs, you know what it feels like to have a need for learning or a need to protect, my future. You have those same needs.
So what I'm hearing is that if both the partners express their needs in asking for that or in making that request, and in saying that no, if there is a no, if those needs, the language of needs, the language of heart is alive, then the connection, it's almost like speaking and holding the hands of each other. The connection is already there, and it will be there irrespective of a yes or a no. But there is a certain awareness that in this situation, yes is not possible for me because there are these needs of mine that need me.
Yes, yeah. So it's both demonstrating care for this person's needs and my own needs, and then the final piece of that, the final step, would be to look for some strategies that could honor all the needs. So in this case, it might be, well, whatever. Could I study for a couple hours and then we go to the movie, or would you be willing to call another friend? And so you could get your needs for companionship and connection and fun and play met. It just wouldn't be me. It wouldn't be the strategy.
So it almost feels like it's trusting the ecosystem that there is enough and there is abundance and the needs will be met. If one just thinks about alternative strategies of making requests, and sometimes it's not only from that one person who is really special and who you would want to have proximity with, but it is practically impossible to have one person fulfill all the needs. So the assumption itself is somewhat fallacious.
Yes, yeah. I mean, my preferred strategy, I'd love it if you came to the movies with me or whatever, and that would be my preferred. But if I really hear and care for your needs as well, then I can hear, oh yeah, that learning, that preparing for your future and stuff, that's really important. So let me get my needs met some other way.
Without holding on to any remorse or pain about it.
Well, I may feel some sadness because, you're my favorite strategy. But if that's not possible, I still want to take care of my needs.
Because one has to take care of oneself before one goes and interacts healthily with anybody else.
Yes, yeah. If I'm putting my needs on you, it becomes a demand, and then all the joy of the relationship will get drained out. Yeah.
The space would be lost between the two.
Yeah.
So I'm hearing the word mutuality. That in a connection, it is important to express the needs and to reach a mutual space of knowing how to get the needs met. Because a lot of times it seems that people do not express their needs.
Yes, we may, growing up or whatever, we may have experienced when we expressed our needs, them not being received joyfully.
Yes.
And so it can be kind of painful or scary when that happens. And so to protect ourselves from that pain, we don't express them. We just keep them buried or hidden.
And it's so powerful that how our own upbringing and the way we related with our primary caretakers often sets the tone to our interaction with the world and how we express or refrain from making requests about needs.
Yes.
So a lot of self-work, inner child healing work to be done.
Yes, I think that's certainly for myself. The more that I do that kind of work, then the more freedom I have in my relationships and the more joy also. Because then there is no demands and there is a fully sharing the joy of, helping meet each other's needs when we can, but also letting go and giving that space when other strategies are needed.
And managing one's own mind and the way we speak with ourselves when we receive a no. And it seems that vulnerability is a part of it. That we would be hurt, there would be times we would feel sad and vulnerable. But knowing that it's alright, coming up and recognizing that the other person is valuable and the needs are valuable, and that is why the no. So it's like reminding ourselves, and probably same when we say that no to somebody, reminding ourselves that this need of mine is valuable for me right now, and I cannot uh, compromise on it for that.
Yes, I really resonate with that. That if we don't hold our needs as equally precious with any other human being's needs, even our near and dear ones, then it's going to take away the aliveness of the relationship, and resentment and guilt and pain are going to come in. But when we hold each other's needs as equal, then there's a lot more joy and space and freedom in the relationship.
And I think people around us would also be happier.
Yes, because again, when I trust that you're caring for your needs, and you trust that I'm caring for my needs, then there's more joy in giving to each other, and there's more safety in expressing my needs when they're alive in me.
Yes. So it sounds to me that if we maintain a healthy relationship where we value our needs and we value the needs of the other, then it's probably a contribution to the people around us, because we are setting an example where it is a norm to be able to stay connected with ourselves and maintaining the connection, holding of hands with the other, and seeing how far we can mutually resolve those needs in some ways.
Yes.
And probably a better word would be mutually fulfill those needs.
Yeah, or one of the words I love is honor the needs.
Honor the needs.
You know, there may be times when we can't figure out a strategy to meet all of the needs, but even to acknowledge them and recognize their importance and set an intention to meet them at some point, in the near future, that in itself too can be very powerful.
And that makes me think that probably being alive to the fact that these are my unmet needs in this moment. Even being able to acknowledge it to oneself in a self-empathetic way would nurture us with compassion.
Yes. It's a wonderful way to hold ourselves and the other person and each other in a kind of bath of compassion and care.
Wonderful. So I feel very happy about this conversation, and I think that it's an important topic that we covered today.
It's a real pleasure to explore this with you together.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Take care of yourself.
Thank you.
And take care of yourself.
Except for the mosquitoes, I had a heck of a lot of fun.